So the next segment that I want to talk about is legal research. Legal research is always something that is important to our users. We use the profile as our primary method of legal research, and when you install Retention Manager, you will get a lot of predefined items already in profile. But we're going to talk a little bit then about the remaining topics, adding additional industries and subjects to profile, which is sometimes mystifying to people, assigning legal groups, regeneration, and how to look at our legal research and make heads or tails out of it. So let us go over to the legal research section, and where I'm going to start with this is in Retention Manager, and I'm going to look first at our legal group index. So the fourth icon over is legal group index. This is the grouping of laws. Right-click, view legal research, and even in a default setting, you'll be able to look at the laws that were assigned to a legal group in the default setting. Click on any of these laws, you'll see its indexing information as well as the text of the laws. So that is what we refer to as viewing the profiled legal research. Profile is the function that pulls all this information together. If, on the other hand, you identify a law in the group that seems to be out of place, the moment I don't have one, but I will emulate what might occur. Right-click and add an open profile. If I open profile, profile then opens the industry, in this case general tax, and the subject general that was used to index this particular law. Notice it was placed in two legal groups. One legal group was accounting general, the other legal group was accounting capital property. You can place a law in a legal group. In case you are confused with any of these industry and subjects and at a certain point would like to see its text, you can always right-click, view legal research, and you will see the text of all the laws in our database that have the same industry and subject. It'll show it by jurisdiction, and you'll be able to determine whether that information is relevant. So, for example, this particular item, I'm just going to make a minor change. We decided it didn't belong in one of the legal groups. It causes the longest retention period in a legal group, so I'm just going to remove it from the legal group. Right-click, remove legal group. Then the next time I close profile, which I'm going to do right now, when profile closes, it will regenerate. There's a lot of confusion what regenerate means, but regenerate in essence is what produces the laws linked to a legal group. In profile, we didn't link laws to legal groups. We linked industries and subjects, and regeneration takes all the laws that were indexed by those industries and subjects, links it to the legal group that we decided was relevant for that grouping of industries and subjects, and allows you then to produce a list like this. So I am going to close my profile. You have three options. You can reject all your changes, save your changes for the next session, or save the changes and regenerate profile. I'm going to save my changes and regenerate. Regeneration is the only way this listing gets updated. And it then will refresh with those particular changes. Now the question is, did we get the retention right? So after we looked at the legal groups with profile legal research, we have looked at viewing the profile legal research. We're perhaps removing a law from a legal group, so I just removed one from capital property, and then we regenerated. We want to calculate the legal requirements period. To do this, we're going to check the legal requirements period, edit any retention period information we have to, and the note really means that this task will also be done every time you do an update, and I'll show you the same thing again as I get to the update section. In order to determine whether the legal requirements period is correct while you're working on your project, after you've selected some industry as a subject, and after an update, we have an automated method of doing it. Right-click and view legal requirements period. Generally, you'll do it from the beginning, but if you're halfway through the list, you can do it from the current item where you are. And as we click through from the beginning, the function will stop where there is a discrepancy. And the discrepancy says there's an error in the legal requirements period. Possible value is active +1. The legal requirements abbreviation period does not correspond to the retention class in legal research. You want to edit the retention period. Why did that occur? That occurred because in the group of laws in the legal requirements, there's one requirement with an ACT active retention period and a 1-year period. If you look at the period we selected, it is 1 year. Active and 1 is not the same as 1. Under our normal rules of records retention arithmetic, the period would be active +1, but we only have 1. You may have noticed there's a few instances in Retention Manager in the default data where we have placed a note in the legal group. In this case, the note says, ACT interpreted as 1 year or less since the fire inspections occur at least annually. And if you read the text of this particular law, it deals with fire inspections. Since it occurs at least annually, we've reinterpreted the law, which we have indexed as active. You've got to keep the active version of the fire inspection report as 1 year or less, since every year you're at least doing an inspection. So in this case, if it did not correspond, we have put a note saying it is okay, we understand that, and we're going to let it go. And so in this case, no, I do not want to change the retention period. We have another item here with worst place inspection in legal group EMP 710. Same issue occurs, and I probably have little or no errors since this is default data. There's one that came up. Every time we change the legal research, it is possible that there is a problem in your legal requirements period. The best way to do this is, if you don't know whether active +5 is really right, cancel and check each of these laws. Now, this issue of performance data has come up in some of our more recent updates, and in future versions of this, the default data is going to exclude it. I left it in for this particular webinar because some of you may have it in your data. This performance data law is particularly important for most organizations, except if you are a power plant, a manufacturing company with big smokestacks. For most normal white-collar business, this is not relevant. So I am going to remove this particular industry and subject from my project. After reading it, I determined it was irrelevant, and I want to get rid of this. So I want to open my profile, remove the performance, data, industry, and subject. I just don't want to remove its legal group. I don't even want to include the laws that were found in my project. I exclude selected subjects the selected ones, and then I regenerate. I save profile. You're going to be able to see on your screen what happens when I did that. Those two laws were eliminated. My next longest legal requirement is 5, and if I start checking the legal research from this current one, it will now skip over the discrepancy, take me to the bottom of the list, and then it'll indicate I've reviewed all the periods. You need to do this a couple times in order to get it more comfortable with it. If I was to do it over again, and I will simulate a change, we had said this active +1 was okay, but let's say it's not okay. If you wanted to then use the tool to help you come up with a revised, updated retention period for legal requirements, say yes, and you can select the period that the software thought was the right one. Notice again, we won't make the change until you make it. If you wanted active +1, you just press the selected and save, and it jumps on to the next one. But let's go back to where we were, and I think that was on fire protection, and we just had an active +1 retention that was added. You will do the same task after an update. I want to show you something then a little bit different. Let's say you were looking in our legal research and you were looking in other areas of law. You could do that in profile, as I said, and view the legal research and look at the way we index those laws. Alternatively, you could go to our second icon, legal search, and do a search. And let's say I'm looking for all the laws related to wells, any type of wells, oil wells, etc. I'm picking something that would not be the default data. So I search that. Notice how quickly our search engine works. I will remind you after we do an update, when you open search again, you will get a prompt. You need to update the search engines, the search indexes, I'm sorry. You can do this. It'll take 5 to 10 minutes to do, and then your searches in legal search will go extraordinarily fast. If you don't update the indexes after an update, you will not be searching on some of the new laws. You will just search the old database. So I recommend after an update, when you open search and it prompts you, you update the search engines, indexes. We then view the results, and I'll show you all the laws that were found with that industry and subject, and the word that was found was highlighted. Let's say you're reading through some of these and you come across one, I'll just take the first one, that is relevant for your organization. You happen to be a petroleum company and you have oil and gas wells, and you look at this and this is relevant. How do you get it into your project? Right-click, add to profile. When you add to profile, what you do is add the industry and subject to profile. And I'm going to add to profile. What it does when it adds to profile will now open up our profile. Notice on the right-hand side, everything's still black like normal. But if we scan down, there's a item for petroleum, which we never had. And in it is a new red item for deductions for depletions, which is the item I added. We now need to add this to our legal research. And in order to fully utilize this information, we will need then to assign it to a legal group. I'll show you how to do this quickly if you're starting a new area like petroleum. So I right-click, assign a legal group, right-click, and I don't have anything for petroleum. Normally, we would add all the new laws to a general petroleum legal group, and then start breaking apart, similar to some of the things I showed you before. So add new. We'll start a new legal group, PET000 for petroleum. We save. Double-click on the legal group to assign it. And now this new industry and subject that we found in our legal search is now going to be into petroleum legal group. I regenerate profile. So profile regenerates all the laws. Regeneration always works on the current database. So after an update, your standard profile setup will regenerate against an updated database, and there could be some new laws added and some laws deleted. Petroleum, we want to view profiled legal research. I click on petroleum, and there is our one law that's now in this legal group. And now we can add additional laws by searching new laws or looking at our profile and adding additional information.